Well, this flower is far from what I wish it was. Uh, the major thing, you can see this one's considerably more interesting, isn't it? Okay, and it has a lighter center, and it has some lighter areas and some darker areas. The color seems considerably more intense, too. That does concern me whether I'm going to be able to make that part of it work. Uh, so what I did here and what I'm going to recreate here is the next step, is that we need some areas to be lighter and some areas to be darker. But we don't want what goes on in the interior to be so strong that it detracts from the excitement of this outer edge, or detracts from it too much, I should say. So let's do step one of what I did before. Before I had actually, I'm doing some masking here, and before I had actually masked with the clear packing tape. But here, when I do mask, I'm going to use masking tape, duh, and I'm just going to tear bits of it and position it here. Let's see. There's a good shape right there. And then I think like this, because I'm going to lighten this edge a little bit. And I'm using Mr. Magic, the magic eraser, I should call it. Okay. A little bit of water. And here's the thing, I don't want to lift a whole lot. I want to be real gentle with this because I want these variations to be relatively subtle. And I'm making a lot of strokes here because I'm making very, very low pressure strokes. That's it right there. You see the difference? That may even be too much. We'll see. And I'm pulling the tape up gently. But let me remind you that when you do something like this, you want the tape to go down on absolutely dry paper. Now, right in here, I want to lift that center. I think I'd like a lighter edge here, too. I'm going to change color there a little bit. So I think what I'll do is, I think I will mask around this little... No, because I want some of those little fuzzy edge things, too. I seem to have left those out entirely, or maybe I didn't leave them out. Maybe I think I've lost a few of my lines in here when I painted. So let's lift right around here a little bit. Again, I'm being very gentle with this. I think I'll leave that darker. I changed my mind. So I'm just making the center lighter right here. Oh, gee. See how easily that came up? I pulled up more than I had intended. Actually, this color here, this beigey whatever, I like that. I don't want a center that calls too much attention to itself. This may be getting me about where I want to be. I'm going to look at my flower here. There was an edge right here. Okay, actually, if I looked at my original drawing, right offhand, I don't know where I put it. If I looked at my original drawing, I could probably make better sense out of this. Let's do a little bit more masking. And see, this masking is not a real precise edge, but without it, I don't have enough control when working with this magic eraser. But I can see where this flower has gained some interest already, because it was just too flat. And this is the way the ones in the picture were too. The thing is that this way I've got the same underlying hue, even though this seems to change color, and it does some. It's really very closely related. Again, you see me making a lot of strokes, but it's because I am putting so little pressure down as I'm doing this. That's enough right there. Possibly that might be just enough. Would I like a little something right there? Oh, maybe I would. The thing is, sometimes when something is working for us and we're liking it, the tendency is to do more of it, and then we're liking it more, and so we do more of it, and we do more of it, and suddenly we've done too much, and we've undone something that was really good by just doing too much of it. So I'm going to be very cautious with myself here. I mean, this is a matter of self-management, that I don't get carried away. Okay, stopping point. Okay, so now I've dried it. Got it really nice and dry. And let's just add in a few darker areas. So I found my drawing. So this paint has dried overnight, of course. Let's just add a little water here to the dark stuff. There we go. Now, one of the things, this has little squiggly things around it that I thought I might like to use in my painting. And remember, when they're there, the little squiggly things, you have a choice. This is not a portrait or an illustration of what a poppy is supposed to look like. In fact, I'm sure this isn't what a poppy is supposed to look like in the first place. But I can pick and choose what I would like to keep. And then let's soften this edge. Now, if I want that circular thing to stand out, I'm going to have to do something with that. But I'll figure that out in a few minutes. I hope I'll figure it out. You know, sometimes you just have to have confidence that when you get to a certain point, you'll have an idea of what to do. As y'all know that work with me, I most of the time don't know where I'm going till I get there. It's like that old thing about pornography. You know it when you see it. Okay. Well, I'll leave that as sort of like a little twinkly thing right there. And by the way, I'm going to be real careful not to cover up my twinkles because I've got just the right amount, or maybe just not quite enough. So, all right, look at that now. But the thing is, this still feels like a unified whole. I would really like for some of these edges to be darker and show up a little stronger than what they do. So, I'll carefully paint around the twinkle. Maybe I'll put an extra dot or two out here. Let's add a dot onto the edge of that because that makes the shape more interesting. So, see, I've got a basic thing down. Now I'm just doing actually fairly minor modifications. Here's one petal, I guess. I can't even tell what it was. Here's one petal that's going in behind another. So, or at least that's what I'm going to make it be. And so, let's darken that edge right there. Oh, see, this was pretty dull a while ago. If you don't think so, back your video up and you'll see that it was. This is part of a petal, part of this same petal folded behind itself. This is a whole other petal. So I'm going to separate these two petals. I could just barely see a line that I had drawn here. I actually remember that specific area. Okay. Do I want... Well, I want some variation on these edges. I don't want to go around it and make all the edges real dark. And, of course, I'm going to keep that one light. I like this. Okay. Maybe just one or two more spots. And although these look considerably darker, they're not that much darker. I think that's enough of that. Now, I did like, these flowers are just a little bit brighter than this one. Well, maybe they're not much. I could layer in a little bit more of the Nicolaizo yellow. And by layer, I mean very lightly glaze with it. I'm not sure that that's going to be a smart move here. I'll let y'all watch me fail. Only a little. I don't know. You know, I really like the Nicolaizo more in the reds than I do in the areas that are by themselves. Just a little bit more glow to, yellow glow to the reds. You may like something entirely different. You might even want to try a little glazing a little purple in some areas. I don't know. That was a thought. I think I'm throwing that thought out. Okay. We'll leave that like that and see. I may put a little fine black line right there. What you see, you can see a little bit of a line now, but not a whole lot of one. I might just put one in there. This is another one of those squiggly things. I might draw it in. I'll think about that. You see how much better this is? Now, this is pretty much the flower I wanted. The thing that it doesn't do that I like about the flower in this picture is this one has more inroads into it, deeper into it. So you have a little bit better negative space. It's just a little bit more irregular. You know, even this has a lot of shape to it, although some of it's sort of lost in the confusion here. That's what I like better about this flower. This is pretty darn nice. That's got a little more yellow in there, and quite frankly, I wasn't crazy about that at the time. Now I'm thinking about it. What if I had hint of Nicolaizo? All I want's a hint. See, I didn't even cover the whole area with it. That's enough for me. You might want more, but warning, a bright yellow center can detract from this particular design. It doesn't mean that a bright yellow center right here in this and some other painting or some other style could be great, but with what I'm working with here, I've got just enough variation. I don't want any more. That's my preference. Okay, so that kind of gives you a little bit more to work with while you're practicing up for next week.